As a result, under House rules, I am forbidden from telling Canadians what happened in that meeting for the next 30 years. Does silencing MPs on committee work for 30 years show transparency from this majority Liberal government?
Happy Friday, Canada. I absolutely love you guys. I have the best supporters in Canada, but things are not looking so hot for us Canadians. Us content creators are under attack, and I have proof they're trying to silence us, and the numbers do not lie. So make sure you are seeing these videos, because my numbers and all the other content creators across Canada's numbers are way down. So subscribe to the channel. Check my channel out regularly for new videos, because a lot of people are telling me they're not even seeing notifications anymore. Canadians have woken up today, and their brand new shiny government, Liberal government, has done something that even the Liberal supporters are fuming right now. They're like, holy crap, we didn't elect this government for this to happen. What did the Liberals do with their brand new majority? With this extraordinary powers, did they reduce the cost of groceries? Did they lower taxes? Did they remove all of the anti-energy laws, which is preventing Canada to become rich again? Or did they just put one single project in their projects of national interest? After an entire year, there's still no projects in that list. Nope, they didn't do any of those things. Instead, they used their extraordinary powers to turn off the cameras at 4 committee meetings this week. And now they're actually restricting people from talking or the transcripts or anything from discussing these committee meetings for an entire 30-year period. If there's absolutely nothing to hide, why do you have to turn the cameras off and ban people from even talking about these meetings for 30 years? I have proof that this new Liberal government is not only double the cost from the previous Liberal government, which seems basically impossible, but now they're running the show like a dictatorship that nobody voted for. Let's get into this report. Here it is, Canada. The video topics, political and news related. In 2026, YouTube's AI is strict on political content. Recommendations may be limited to authoritative sources or slow during high traffic news cycles to prevent misinformation. So CBC, CTV, Global, oh yeah, they're going to be pushed hard. And us independent content creators, well, there's a reason our numbers are way down. I'm going to continue to make my valuable videos, but I don't know what to say. Do you guys have any advice for me? They're going after us content creators because when I show you what they're doing in just committee meetings, shutting off the cameras and preventing people from speaking about it for 30 years, so there is zero surprise that they're trying to turn off the lights for people like me and all the other content creators that you enjoy watching every single day. It is more important than ever that I continue to fight for you and all other Canadians. I'm going to keep making my videos so that we get the change that we deserve in this country. We're not going to give up. Even if that means there will be just a couple hundred views on my videos, I'm going to still fight for you. Brand new Abacus data was just released today. You're not going to believe this one. This is completely insane. Canadian boomers are the only group that's voting for the Liberals. Everybody from 59 and under is not voting for the Liberals. It's either tied or the Conservatives are winning. So the boomers in this country are the ones that are propping up this insane government. And not to worry, it's not all boomers. I know a lot of you out there watching this video do not support the Liberals, but you are in the 29%. If the boomers didn't vote for the Liberals, we would get change in this country where we could actually afford to go to the grocery store and not look at items and put them back Yeah, we're faced with the worst economic conditions we've ever seen in this country because the Liberals have trouble putting that credit card back in the wallet. The Carney curse continues after Mark Carney wore his Edmonton Oilers tie yesterday. The Oilers lost to the Ducks and have been eliminated from the NHL playoffs 4-2 in the series. The Carney curse is real, guys. Anytime he supports one of our Canadian teams, it's a loss. The Liberals got their majority to do this.
What you've seen with the committees going in camera, were any of them legitimate uses of the in-camera kind of tool?
Not at all. For example, there's a prescribed IT procurement scandal where millions of taxpayers' money seems to have gone to another bloated IT contract that has gone way beyond the original costs. We need to know why that happened, who made those decisions. That is a normal thing for a committee to do. The Veterans Affairs Committee wanted to just have a study on how the budget affects veterans. Liberals blocked that as well. This move to in-camera is completely undemocratic because that is, when a committee is in camera, it means the cameras are actually shut off. It means they stop transcribing the remarks and the public and the media are kicked out of the room, so nobody knows what actually happens. That is not a way to run a government, by hiding facts and information from the Canadian people.
Have you been able to speak with the government House leader or his team about this, and what has their reaction been, if so?
This has come right out of left field. This is without any kind of discussion, without any kind of problem looking to be solved. They've just started doing this. This is a brand new tactic when you follow the chronology, they get their majority through these backroom deals. They immediately bring in a motion to stack the deck on committees, and then they immediately start to implement this tactic. This goes to show you that I believe this was part of the goal of Mark Carney getting that cobbling together his majority, not to address the needs of Canadians, not to make life more affordable for Canadians, not to undo the damage of the last 11 years of Liberal government, but to make life easier for him, to make it easier for him to hide his scandals, to hide misuse of taxpayers' money. So it's extremely disappointing, and it's an abuse of power.
We knew it was going to be bad when they got their majority, but we didn't know that it would result in this. Not only did they shut off all the cameras for 4 of the committee meetings, the ones that are like, hey, you're covering up some of this corruption, we need to find out where all our money is going, but they're also making it illegal to talk about what they discussed in these committees for a 30-year period.
At a recent Health Committee meeting, Conservatives moved a motion calling for a full investigation into the Liberals' wasteful $300 million prescribed IT boondoggle. The Liberals immediately responded by moving that meeting behind closed doors. Shame. As a result, under House rules, I am forbidden from telling Canadians what happened in that meeting for the next 30 years. Does silencing MPs on committee work for 30 years show transparency from this majority Liberal government?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Government House Leader.
Yes, thank you, Madam Speaker. Our standing committees of Parliament play a very important role. I think it's important that we encourage collaboration as much as we can, Madam Speaker. Many would ultimately argue that what happens in standing committees is very beneficial for the entire House. So let's look forward to seeing more collaboration at the standing committees. Thank you.
More collaboration? You just shut off all the cameras and said you can't talk about it for 30 years. Is this guy even know what's going on? And then he's talking in the House like, oh yeah, we're going to collaborate with everybody. We are cooked. Here we have a reporter asked, Steve McKinnon, do you really think putting the committee meetings in camera, which means shutting off all the cameras so Canadians have no idea what they're talking about, is a democratic good use of your majority government? Listen to his long, convoluted answer where he actually ends up blaming the Conservatives for keeping the government accountable and asking questions. Oh, no, we can't have any questions. We can't have any accountability whatsoever. But in the same breath, he says it's all about accountability and being transparent. I don't trust them for a second. Check this out.
See you next question.
Hi, David Thurton, CBC News. At least 4 committees have gone in camera this week, parliamentary committees, making their proceedings private. Others have rejected proposed studies on public funding. Is this a democratic use of your government's new majority, and will Liberals continue to use this tactic?
I'm sorry, rejected studies on public funding? I don't know what that means.
Rejected studies on studying how government spends its money.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, the fundamental role of parliamentary commons committees, standing committees, is to hold the government accountable, to probe government spending, indeed to approve government spending in advance. That work is work that I very much respect. Those committees and the institutions of Parliament that they support are incredibly vital, and we're determined to continue to extend our hand across the aisle and to work with opposition parties to keep those committees transparent, open, and doing their work in public, as they mostly always have. The fact is that I accept the government has an increased burden of responsibility in terms of ensuring that accountability and that transparency, and that's a burden that we welcome and expect. But the opposition also has a role to play in all of this. If everything they do as they march into committee meetings every day is dilatory and seeks to impede or obstruct, well, then that is going to provoke a counter reaction, because committees have jobs to do. They have work to do, and when opposition MPs seek only to impede and obstruct the work of committees, then obviously there has to be some order and balance brought to that situation. But I accept that the burden of the government is to ensure that this work remains virtually entirely done in public.
And so just as a follow-up, if the opposition continues, in your view, to obstruct or use dilatory tactics, if I'm using your word correctly, will you continue to place these committees in camera and reject proposed studies on certain topics or government spending?
Well, again, I don't know that I accept the premise that if we don't accept the idea of a single opposition member of Parliament to explore something, that we are acting in some non-transparent way. I think you have to take these issues one by one. I think we're also going through a period of adjustment, one that is pretty unprecedented in as much as we haven't gone from a minority to a majority. Adjustments will need to be made on both sides. Let's assume goodwill on all sides. I think the Conservatives in particular might have some thinking to do with respect to how they approach committees in this situation. And I think, in fairness, the government needs to consider how it may always, or virtually always, work transparently and in public.
Holy crap! So if the Conservatives ask even one question, just one single question about money, accountability, or anything else that this government is doing, they're going to shut off the cameras immediately. Those Conservatives better get in line and notice that if they question our government and the authority and the power that was given to us, we are shutting the entire thing down. And Canadians, you'll never know what we're doing. We can only hope that it goes exactly like this. How to lose a fragile majority. There are 2 by-elections that are probably coming this summer, and by fall, they could lose their majority. Step 1, get a majority by shady floor crossing. Step 2, do totalitarian stuff at the very first moment that you get your majority. Step 3, fail horribly in a blaze of shame. Soon coming to Canada, because Canadians are watching this thing go down and are like, what? Even Liberals are like, this is not what we wanted. Oh, and if you think shutting off all the cameras at committees so there's zero accountability and barring for 30 years anybody talking about it, they did not print off their brand new budget for senators so that the senators had no idea what's in this budget. Accountability? Zero. Check this out.
Senator Moreau, your Liberal government tabled its spring economic update on Tuesday. Members of the House of Commons received hard copies of this document in their offices. It's my understanding that members of the Senate Finance Committee received these booklets, but aside from those few, most senators did not. Not even an email or link from Finance, not a book, nothing. Your Liberal government has a stunning $67 billion deficit, but you won't cough up the pocket change to supply senators with the information we require to thoroughly examine government spending. Yesterday, your government deputy leader tabled the spring economic update booklet in the Senate chamber and launched a Senate inquiry into its contents. But how can we fully participate in that debate when you haven't even given us the information we need to hold this government accountable?
Senator Moreau.
My understanding is that there will be a BIA to implement the measure in the economic spring update, and therefore the senator, will have all the opportunity to study fully the update. And I can provide you, if you want to do that today, an extra copy. I've got one, if you want, and you will be able maybe to ask questions, because it's a very nice update that bring into our economy $37.5 billion more to answer the need of Canadians and to strengthen our economy.
Senator Batters.
Yes, when MPs get them, so should we. And Senator Moreau, this isn't a new problem. You know that the same thing actually happened last year. When the Liberal government tabled its budget last fall, one of our colleagues raised the issue of the missing booklets with you in question period. Given that, why didn't you, the government's representative in the Senate, ensure that senators received copy this time around? And why does this Liberal government continue to treat senators like second-class parliamentarians?
Senator Moreau.
Oh, it's certainly not the intention of the government, nor is it mine. I understand that the document is online, and you can consult it right now. Again, I reoffer the opportunity to have, if you want to have a hard copy of the document, I reiterate my intention to send it to your office. Now, it's very important, and I like the fact that you want to study it, because there's so many things about economy, affordability, environment. Very good government decision, and it would be a good idea for you to take notice of those.
For anybody with eyeballs and looking at this budget, it is so catastrophic for the Canadians that could barely afford to eat food in this country, because their inflationary budget spending is going to result in our debt service costs to go from $54 billion a year, which is $1 billion per week just servicing the debt, to $80 billion a year by year 2030. Just 4 years from now, we're going to be paying $80 billion in just debt service. That's money that's not going towards healthcare, schooling, or anything else. All these programs that they keep promising us are in jeopardy because their budget is out of control. Get this, Canadians voted for Mark Carney because he was an economic genius, the adult in the room, the only guy that can negotiate a win with Donald Trump, is going to turn Canada's fortunes around and make us all rich again. We just found out today that 67% of Canadians think the economy is heading in the wrong direction, with 72% they do not think things are going to improve in the short term. It only took a year for the beautiful, shiny Mark Carney to dull. The master economist has managed to make Canada even worse, needing to provide groceries rebate and free food for kids. That is a straight up admission that they have failed. And now they're shutting off committee meetings. And
a majority of Canadians are indeed still feeling very pessimistic about the state of the economy, despite that better than expected fiscal picture that was painted in this week's spring economic update. Do keep in mind that this poll was conducted before the country got a look at the Carney government's latest fiscal update. However, it does suggest that affordability remains a top of mind concern for many Canadians. So it shows that 67% of Canadians don't feel like the economy is on the right track. And among those who are most likely to feel that way include younger and middle-aged Canadians. Now, the outlook for economic improvement in the short term is also very bleak. Just 3 in 10 believe the national or their local economy will improve in the next couple of months. A majority of Canadians are indeed still feeling very pessimistic about the state of the economy, despite that better than expected fiscal picture that was painted in this week's spring economic update. Do keep in mind that this poll was conducted before the country got a look at the Carney government's latest fiscal update. However, it does suggest that affordability remains a top of mind concern for many Canadians. So it shows that 67% of Canadians don't feel like the economy is on the right track. And among those who are most likely to feel that way include younger and middle-aged Canadians. Now, the outlook for economic improvement in the short term is also very bleak. Just 3 in 10 believe the national or their local economy will improve in the next couple of months. Now, pollster John Wright says the reduced deficit that was outlined in this week's spring economic update is just not enough to make a difference in the lives of people. Have a listen.
The attitude of Canadians is at a contrary level to where the government presented its economic statement the other day. I mean, it was upbeat about, we're doing well and the economy's moving forward and we're having some modest growth. And it's got a smaller deficit, but that doesn't help Canadians when they're looking at high gas costs at the pump, what they're spending now at the grocery store.
Now, the Carney government appears to be under no illusions about the challenges it now faces, squaring the big picture impact of its economic agenda with the affordability concerns of everyday Canadians. I will point out that there is an entire section in the spring economic update, which is nearly 200 pages, titled "Why Canadians Still Feel Their Budgets Are Strained and What the Government is Doing About It." That is a section of the update in which the government touts its rebranded GST rebate as well as the National School Food Program as ways to help with household budgets.
I have a question. How many of you are getting free food for kids? I have 2 kids and there's 0 free food for them. I pay for all of it. How many people are getting a grocery and essential benefit rebate? And of which, all those people that get this benefit rebate, the amount of inflation that's currently occurring in food, it gets completely wiped out. It's a scratch for everybody. But for all of the people that are not getting it, which is basically all of the working class Canadians, if you make over $65,000, you're getting 0 benefit. And guess what? 37% of the people that are going to the food bank have a job. Yeah. So if you have a job, you still can't even afford to live in this country and you get 0 essential rebate. They're not making life more affordable for Canadians. What they're doing is providing peanuts to people and saying, take it and go. That's it for today's report. You know what? We have things to look forward to. It looks like Canadians are starting to notice that this beautiful economist, this shiny new thing, is actually 10 times worse than Justin Trudeau. And now he's taken away all accountability with his brand new majority. And even Liberal supporters are looking at this government saying, wait a second, we didn't vote for any of this. You are not making life more affordable. There's 2 by-elections that's going to occur this summer, probably. And this will be a true test to the Liberal government because those 3 by-elections that they just won, they were in Liberal strongholds, meaning it was guaranteed. But these next ones, this will put a test on the Liberal government. One of them could go to the NDP and the other one in North Vancouver, That one could go to the Conservatives, meaning they will lose their majority. And hopefully that means we have a fall election and we kick these Liberals out. We're getting heavily suppressed here on YouTube. Share this video with everybody you know, because I'm not growing without you and your help. We need to fight this thing together. We cannot give up on this country. We are this close to getting the change that we deserve, and we need it now. I'd love to hear from you in the comment section. What do you think about them shutting off cameras and making a 30-year restriction on talking about anything? What do you think about this catastrophic budget? If you think inflation is bad now, just wait till they continue to print money into infinity and beyond. It's nice to see that Canadians are waking up. Hopefully they wake up fast, because we can't afford one more day with this government. I'll see you on the next report.